joining the Bose Wealth Management podcast for August 2023. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are or whenever you're listening to this. We're going to talk real estate today because I get a lot of questions on that from clients, and it's a very important part of people's financial planning and financial future, of course. Today, I'm joined by Steve Moran. He's with Remax Real Estate in Mississauga. I've known Steve for over 10 years, probably. He's had a large real estate business. And one thing I will say up front about Steve, one of his biggest strengths is building strong relationships with people, both in his personal and professional life. He always puts clients first, and he's a great guy and a pretty good golfer, I can attest to as well. So Steve, welcome.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me, and nice to be able to join you today.
Great. Pleasure to have you. So maybe just to start off, Steve, tell me, where were you born? Where did you grow up? A little background.
Yeah, sure, Brian. I was born in Sarnia, Ontario, and upon my high school graduation, I studied business administration at Wilfrid Laurier, and took a path into finance and accounting, which is where my career first started after graduation, in the energy industry in Calgary, Alberta.
Okay.
And then 15 years ago, I left the industry and became a licensed real estate agent, and that's what I've been doing for the past 15 years.
All right. Have you always been based in the Mississauga area?
Yeah, I work with a Remax brokerage based in Mississauga. We've got a number of, good quality agents with good brokerage, good leadership, and it's been a good transition for me personally.
Okay, good. And you own multiple properties. I know you have a place in Florida still. Do you still have that?
Yeah, I do have a place in Florida, and I have a place out in the British Columbia Mountains, which is actually where I'll be going on Sunday to golf for a week. But while I was working corporately in the energy industry in Calgary, I was able to build a portfolio of real estate investments, which enabled me to transition from the energy industry into the real estate industry rather seamlessly. So that's really been very helpful for me in lifting my real estate career as it has.
Right. And your place is near Panorama, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Actually, it's in not only near, but it's in Panorama.
Oh, okay. How are the fires out there? Are they close to you?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, it is. This is a record year for fires across the country.
Absolutely.
And more specifically in British Columbia. And a fire was 7 kilometers from the resort early last week.
Wow.
The British Columbia government issued a evacuation alert. So the intent of the alert was to provide notice to residents that an evacuation order could be imminent at any point in time.
At any time. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's not just one area, it's the whole country. I was in Banff in May and there was smoke everywhere. And I was in New York City in July, and in Manhattan, you could hardly see the sun in the sky for all the smoke down from Eastern Canada.
It's really been, a tragic turn of events for the country, and I guess more specifically with me and my upcoming travels to Panorama. Right. The BC government did rescind the evacuation alert yesterday. So We'll have smoky conditions next week on the golf course, but I don't think we'll need to be concerned about any evacuations. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a bunch of really tough questions for you today. So you're ready. Just generally, so what's going on in the Toronto, Ontario, Mississauga markets? Just generally, what's going on with prices? Are we seeing them dropping yet?
Well, that's a very, very good question, Brian. And I think I can give you a little bit of a long-winded answer to that.
Right.
So I think everybody's aware of the restrictive monetary policy, which was initiated by the Bank of Canada early in 2022. And the intent of restrictive monetary policy, of course, is to reduce demand. And the goal of the Bank of Canada with respect to the housing market, particularly in the Greater Toronto Area, did have some positive results in terms of reducing the selling prices early in 2022. And then what we've seen as the Bank of Canada has continued with its rate hikes since then, although on a much more modest level, we've seen the pricing flatline in Q3 and Q4 of 2022, and then begin to increase in Q1 2023 and continued into Q2 2023. So what we've seen in the most recent sales statistics reported from the Toronto Real Estate Board for the month of the month of June, we've seen slight increase in average selling prices and home sales vis-a-vis June 2023 versus June 2022.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of stole my second question, interest rates. But so it's surprising to me. I thought there'd be more of a drop, in pricing, not 30%, but there'd be more of a drop based on the rates, because it's pretty substantial. I mean, I know it's punitive to people that already have a home and they have a mortgage and they're renewing. So they're probably not looking to sell. So is it supply still the biggest concern?
Yeah, certainly that's a significant concern, Brian. And intuitively, one would think that as the Bank of Canada or any central bank adopts a restrictive monetary policy to reduce demand, there will be an impact on selling prices. And as I said, we did see that early in 2022, but most of the softening in prices early in 2022 has been erased, and that is primarily related to immigration, as you have pointed out. So there has been a significant increase in immigration levels into the country. Immigration is now at record levels. And we just haven't seen a corresponding increase in supply in terms of housing inventory. So, it's just, basic economics where you've got demand greater than supply will drive pricing higher.
So I do see, I work downtown Toronto, and there's a lot of cranes everywhere, and we do see a lot of buildings too, more than a lot of cities. So it's not like they're not building some. They may not be building residential homes, but they are building. But to your point, I mean, someone told me the other day up to 1 million people are coming. And I don't know the numbers, but a lot of them are coming to the GTA.
Yeah, and that's true, Brian. And I don't know the numbers specifically. I think that, the immigration targets from the federal government are in the 500,000 people range per annum. Right. And yes, historically, we've seen that 50% of new Canadians end up in the Greater Toronto Area. Right. So a significant demand implication from the aggressive immigration policy by the federal government.
Right. Yeah, I sometimes say that Toronto's a victim of its own success. Yeah. It's so successful. Everyone wants to live here. There's good paying jobs. There's technology jobs. My whole neighborhood, they're building tech offices and development, and a lot of young, talented people coming. So there's a lot of energy and professional talent coming here as well, which creates more and more innovation. So it's all great, but yeah, they're all coming here, and there's not enough places for everybody. So I guess we'll see. Is the government doing
And
much of anything
what's
other than?
aggravating the supply
Mhm.
situation, Brian, is uh, would-be sellers are reluctant to sell their home for fear of not being able to find another home that meets the needs of their family.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so they're staying put. So that has an impact on the
Sure.
supply.
Yeah, I have heard that people are like used to retire and maybe move to an apartment or something later, or deciding to stay in their homes. And there is this perception, well, my home's going up so much. Why would I leave? It's not a sensible financial decision because there's a perception it's going to go up 50% in 4 years. And they're going to, where we live, yeah, they've gone up a lot in the east end of Toronto. So, why would they sell it as long as they can afford to live in it with the property taxes and everything? We are seeing less people selling. That's what her.
Ryan, before you go to your next
Yeah,
question, I will
yeah,
make a comment because you mentioned you see
sure.
from your office a number of cranes in the sky in Toronto, and we're seeing that throughout the Greater Toronto area. It's just a significant amount of new construction. I guess the storyline will be whether this new construction will meet the future demand or not.
Hmm.
But it's interesting that there was a report that was released actually this morning that indicated that new condo sales saw their slowest first half of the
Hmm.
year since
Hmm.
2013.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there is some slowdown in the new condo sales. And there's been a slight decline in year-over-year pricing in new
Okay.
condo sales
In the condo market.
to $1,411 per square foot.
Okay.
And so what we're seeing in the new condo market is builder incentives in terms of mortgage rate guarantees, parking and locker incentives, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll have to keep our eye on that marketplace.
Okay. All right. And well, we talked about this a little, but we're not seeing. I mean, anecdotally, I know a few people like that have moved out of province to take advantage of cheaper real estate in New Brunswick or Prince Edward Island, that kind of thing. But are you seeing it on your end? There's a movement of people out, like, say, you know what, I get 1.5 million for this, semi-detached. I'll get a place in PEI for 500, and that leaves me $1 million to, live on.
Yeah, we see significant instances of that, Brian. I just met up with a former colleague of mine who sold her home in Mississauga and is relocating to Halifax.
Okay.
I own real estate in Calgary, Alberta, so I pay particularly close attention to that marketplace.
Okay.
And the Calgary Real Estate Board reported again today that they had the highest number of sales on record in any July.
Wow.
This past month.
Right.
So clearly there's a significant interprovincial migration into the province of Alberta.
Right.
And I think to a large extent, that's, currently driven by, good economic conditions in the province and the city, and also magnified by people in larger metropolitan areas, such as the Greater Toronto area, the Greater Vancouver area, who are selling at, very, very high home prices and relocating into a market where the home prices are more affordable and are able to put some money into their bank account and then call up their friendly financial advisor and say, I've got some money to invest.
Right. All right. Well, give them my number.
Yeah, certainly will.
You're talking to them.
I definitely will, Brian.
Well, that is a heck of a lot of information for today. So I'm not going to write a novel on the subject, but we'll do it again. keep up because things are changing, rates are changing. Personally, in our business, we're looking at rates going down slightly. I would have thought they would have stopped raising, but they have raised rates recently. But over a 12, 24-month period, we see the rates hopefully declining. Inflation's under 3% now in Canada and the United States. So they're doing their job. I think they'll wait for a while to see that inflation continues to go down. We're not going to see, 0.1%, I don't think, again, unless there's a financial crisis, which we don't want. But we should see rates softening 12 to 24 months, hopefully providing some relief for people with mortgages. All right. Well, it's great to see you again. I'm sure I'll talk to you and see you again soon, Steve. But thanks for joining us today.
Pleasure's mine. And thanks for having me, Brian. And enjoy the rest of your summer.